Greetings. It's really a privilege for me to be here tonight. We're going to be honoring a very, very special woman, a lady who I happened to guard her front gate. I was kidding around with several of our children here tonight. I said she must have gone pretty deep on her list to do this job, about 60 deep, Dean, before you came to. He's the only guy available to do it. But I am really honored to be here. I count it a great, great privilege to be here with you tonight to honor this very special lady. Although I do think that the people at the Georgia Public Policy Foundation probably didn't do their homework very well in choosing me. You see, I'm not so used to such a packed house. I think this is incredible. You know, 11 years with the Atlanta Falcons never gave me an opportunity to play in front of many packed houses. So if I seem a little nervous here tonight, that's why. I jotted down some things about Dean because I didn't want to miss anything as we go forward here tonight. I wanted to try to keep to the time frame that we're all on here, and just wanted to jot down a few notes, and if you'll bear with me, I'd like to share a few things. Our honoree here tonight embodies all that is good and wholesome and right about life. She's a woman of character, virtue, and vision, and she's committed to use her time here on earth and her talents to make life better for all people. Her love of gardening is well documented. It's been her hobby for over 30 years. And if you've ever been to Belmere in the springtime, you know that this has to be her home. You know, we've been neighbors now for over a decade and are privy to much of the activity that goes on at Mrs. Smith's home. Countless times we're able to see a procession of lights leading to and from her house through the forest that separates our homes. And time again, we wonder, what noble deed is Dean up to tonight? And I've had the privilege to get to know her children as well, who are a testimony to her proficiency as a mother. All are outstanding individuals who have inherited and made their own many of the wonderful character traits they've seen displayed by Mom through the years. After all is said and done, I'm sure you'll agree with me that these are life's true trophies. We're going to hear more about this incredible lady a little bit later in the program, but suffice it to say that she loves God and she loves people, and that's a great testimony. Now it's my distinct privilege and pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker here tonight. Pierre Howard was elected the 9th Lieutenant Governor of Georgia in 1990 and won a second four-year term in 1994. Before taking statewide office, Howard served in the Georgia Senate for 18 years. Howard was born in Decatur on February 3, 1943, to Caroline and Pierre Howard. The younger Howard attended public schools and graduated from Decatur High School in 1961. As a youth, Howard was an outstanding amateur athlete in tennis. He won an athletic scholarship to the University of Georgia and captained the tennis team under the legendary coach, Dan McGill. In 1994, Howard was inducted into the Georgia Tennis Hall of Fame. At the university, Howard was recognized as the outstanding freshman, sophomore, and junior. After graduating Phi Beta Kappa in 1965, Howard enrolled at the University of Georgia School of Law and completed his degree in 1968. Returning to Decatur upon graduation, Howard entered into the practice of with his father, beginning a lifelong career as a general practice attorney. In 1972, Howard was elected to represent the 42nd Senate District in the Georgia Senate, where he served 9 terms before becoming Lieutenant Governor. Howard has been married to the former Nancy Elizabeth Barnes of Macon for 23 years. They have 2 children, Christopher and Caroline. Throughout his political career, Howard focused on the many critical issues facing Georgia families. In 1997, he championed graduated licenses and zero tolerances for teenage drivers, drinking and driving. He put $1 million in the state budget to start after-school care for middle school children. Howard is also fighting to restore accuracy to the criminal justice system by revamping the state's sentencing structure and requiring criminals to serve 100% of their sentences. He has received numerous awards for his leadership in healthcare and family issues, including the American Medical Association's National Dr. Nathan Davis Award as Outstanding Statewide Elected Official of 1996. Please join with me in welcoming Lieutenant Governor Pierre Howard.
Thank you so very much, Steve. I do appreciate those kind words. I do feel that they were somewhat undeserved, but I do appreciate them nonetheless, and they were much nicer than what one of the House leaders said about me not too long ago. He said, "Ladies and gentlemen, this is our Lieutenant Governor, Pierre Howard. He's a good example of what can happen when folks don't vote." To Governor Joe Frank Harris and to Secretary of State Massey, Commissioner Baker, other public officials who are here, and to all of you, I know that there is really no way that I can adequately do the job that I have been called upon to do tonight, and that is to try in my own way to sum up in 10 minutes the accomplishments of Deen Day Smith, one of my true heroes in life. And I know that there is so much love and appreciation for her in this room that she surely can feel it. I'm very honored that I was asked to do this, and I do very much appreciate it. I want to first say that I have enjoyed my long association with the Public Policy Foundation. I was the first speaker for the foundation when you started your breakfasts back in 1991, and I've had the honor to speak each January since. I also had the honor of traveling to Thomasville, Georgia, and Hank McCamish will remember that because that's where I met him. We had to land the plane in Albany and then drive on to Thomasville because of the fog. I have been closely associated with three of your leaders, Tom Perdue, Griff Doyle, and now Rogers, of course, is a close friend as well, and Kelly McCutcheon and Paige Perdue also are close friends. So I feel very close to this organization. I feel that I have sort of grown up as Lieutenant Governor along with this organization, and I'm honored to be a part of it because I know what your mission is. I believe in your mission of trying to generate ideas which, when acted on by government, will improve the individual responsibility of people and lessen government and make it smaller, and I think that's something that we all should strive for. The other thing about the Public Policy Foundation that is important to me to say is that it acknowledges that one person can make a difference, and we all must try to make a difference, and that one person in a family or one person in a legislative body acting on principle can make a difference. And that's exactly why Deen Day Smith is being honored here tonight, because she is such a person. I view her as a Renaissance woman with multiple talents and diverse interests, and I agree with everything that Steve said about her. I think that the first thing that we have to acknowledge about her is her devotion to her family, and the most outstanding thing to me about her, of all the things that I know about her, is that one thing, her devotion to her family. We first must hold up to you her children, because I believe that a person's children are the best reflection of the person, how they turn out, the kinds of things that are important to them, their values, their principles. Those are the things that really make a difference. And by those things, we judge people. And when you look at her children, then you can see what a great mother she is. First, Clint. Clint and I were closely associated together in the Senate during the time that I've been Lieutenant Governor. He served, of course, in the Senate, ran a very strong race for the Senate of the United States, and I have really enjoyed my friendship with Clint very much. Burke, who serves in the House as well, I have had a good, close relationship with him too. Peyton, I don't know quite as well, but Peyton is a very devoted citizen of this state and holds Bible studies in his home. Kathy and I go to the same church, and she is a wonderful person. And Park also is in that same category. All of the children have turned out so very well And Dean, that to me is the greatest monument to you and your late husband, Cecil Day. All of us know that she married Cecil while they were students at Mercer, and that she was married to him when he started the business that became one of the great businesses in this whole nation. They were married for 25 years, and she was the homemaker who raised those children and gave support to him while he was building the business. She was active in the PTA. She was a volunteer at the school. She participated in the bake sales. She supported the Boy Scouts and the Cub Scouts and all of the activities of the children. She was their mother, in fact, and she didn't believe in this quality time business. She believed in time with the children, and that's what has made the difference. I asked Clint just before I came up here to speak, I said, Clint, what is it about your mother that you would want me to say? He said, I think the most outstanding quality about my mother is her unconditional love of us children. She has loved us through tough times. She's loved us through maybe the times when we weren't doing exactly what she would have wanted. And it has been through this unconditional love expressed to all of us that we have been able to make something out of ourselves. And I can't think of a better testament from a son than to say that about his mother. You know that Mr. Day, Cecil B. Day, died in 1978 at the age of 44. Those children were between ages of 13 and 24. And she stepped in and ran the family business. She continued to attend to all the needs of those children through those hard years. 5 years later, she married a very good friend of mine, C.O. Smith, Charles O. Smith from Moultrie. He had 4 grown sons, and they were blended into the family, and Dean is now the proud grandmother of 18. And that is a wonderful thing. What is her philosophy of parenting? All children are unique and must be loved unconditionally. Isn't that a wonderful thing to believe, that all children are unique beings created by God in His image, but different in each respect? They must be loved unconditionally. A mother brings forth the best in her children by helping them overcome their weaknesses. Serving God and others is paramount. Individuality must be encouraged, but moral values are constant. For all of these wonderful qualities as a mother, she was selected as the 1997 Georgia Mother of the Year, and then most recently, the 1997 National Mother of the Year for this great country of ours. Let's give her a hand for that. I must move on quickly, but the next thing I want to say is that I believe another quality that has to be mentioned is her devotion to God. That has been the theme of her life. Her husband was the son of a Baptist preacher. She a Christian from the very earliest time in her life. She has applied the Christian ideals to her life. She and Cecil Day applied Christian ideals to the Day companies, building a real estate and motel empire based on family values and high moral principles. The business philosophy was always fairness in business transactions and the stewardship of all resources. In the Day's End rooms, there was always a Bible, and the guests were asked to take it home and read it. Might do them some good. Every Day company tithed according to biblical principles. She has always supported a variety of Christian organizations and causes, including the Dunwoody Baptist Church. She taught Sunday school there for 14 years. Cecil chaired the Board of Deacons, and they have been active with the Baptist Building Foundation, which supports religious projects in churches throughout this country. Cecil was a trustee of Tift College and Mercer, and Dean still speaks frequently to Christian groups of all denominations. Her daughter Kathy, interestingly enough, is now a seminary student and is going to graduate in May from the Candler School of Theology. And I'm very proud of her, and I know, Dean, you are too. That's a wonderful thing. The next thing I want to just touch on briefly is Deen's wonderful commitment and devotion to her fellow man. She has always believed that public service is important, and she has been active in public life. She's been active in politics, and she has been very close to some political figures, Jimmy Carter, Governor Joe Frank Harris, Senator Sam Nunn, and many others in this state. She has served her state as the first woman on the Georgia Board of Industry and Trade in 1983. She served 2 terms as the chair of that important board. She was a part of the Growth Strategies Commission, the Board of Regents of the University System, a member of the Fine Arts Committee of the United States Department of State, and a member of the Fine Arts Committee of the Governor's Mansion Committee. There are so many things that she has done that we just don't have time to name them all. They just go on and on and on. Politics brought her to her second husband, Charles Smith, who was very active in that realm. And her children, as you know, inherited her love of politics, but they didn't all go into the same party. You know, Burke, of course, is a House member from Tybee Island, a Republican. Clint, former senator, Republican. And Park, very active in Democratic politics. Now, what does Deen make of all this? Well, she said, look, we all agreed years ago to love each other regardless of party. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could do that in America, since we're Americans first and Democrats and Republicans second? It'd be wonderful if we could live by what Deen Day Smith believes. She believes that when you raise your children to be individuals and think for themselves, that you must allow them to live by their convictions, regardless of what party they choose. Democracy gives us that freedom. She's been active in the garden clubs. She established, of course, the wonderful Butterfly Center down at Callaway Gardens, and she has a passion for preserving the natural beauty of our state. We were talking about that at dinner. She is a big believer that God put it here. We can't improve on it. Let's don't mess it up. I think that's a good philosophy. In closing, let's just reflect on what some people close to her have said. Her pastor, the Reverend R.D. Spear, says that her love for God and his creation has always enabled her with grace to mother lovingly and to reach out to others at all levels. The president of the Cecil B. Day Investment Company, Robert Williams, says that she competes successfully in a man's world without breaking her femininity and forsaking it, her spirituality, or her devotion to her family. Governor Joe Frank Harris says that Deen Day Smith has left many inspirational footprints of beauty across our state and our nation, which have proven her godly stewardship, whether it be preserving nature or enriching mankind. I want to just close by saying that Deen Day Smith reminds me of this Bible verse that I'm about to read to you from Proverbs. Her life has reflected these words. Strength and honor are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. She looks well to the ways of her household, and eats not the bread of idleness. Her children rise up and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praises her. Let us all rise up and call this great and good woman blessed. And let us all remember what an inspiration she is to the people of our state and our nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pierre. Now, if everybody can turn around, get situated, we have a video presentation. You find the screen in the back of the room there. It's a tribute to Deen Day Smith.
We had family devotions every evening, and it was out of a devotional period that inspired me many, many years later to do the Butterfly Center. Cecil would tell the children, just as our lives are just creepy crawlers, almost like the caterpillar, when Christ comes into our lives, we are created in a new fashion. We become new creatures.
This is the single most popular attraction we have at Callaway Gardens, is the Cecil B. Day Butterfly Center. And when you go in there and see these 1,000 butterflies just flying around, and it's just an exciting thing that everyone loves, and Deen did that for us. You know, when you're so good at one thing, you forget other things, and Deen is such a loving, wonderful person with such a love of family and love of God that you forget other aspects of her. But you should not forget that when her husband, Cecil Day, died, she was in charge of Day's Ends. And Day's Ends was a huge enterprise, and she ran it for years, and she didn't half run it, she ran it with great respect from everyone in that industry.
I had enough leadership qualities from many, many years of leading different organizations and being president of this organization or that one, and I have the ability to say no. We always struggled with Day's Ends. It was not a business that was just a huge success immediately. Although the rooms were renting well, we started having to borrow an awful lot of money, and we were always in debt. And Cecil Day came home during the oil embargo, and he said, "Deen, you will live on $12,000 a year." And I said, "Really?" And he said, "Absolutely."
God has blessed her with such a variety of talents and abilities that there's no way to categorize any one certain talent in her life. And this is the reason that she can be a mother, be a businesswoman, and a community worker, a garden club leader.
She's intelligent, she was quick, and she kept Cecil's philosophy. Anything that we did, we were supposed to consider, is it legal, is it honest, is it ethical?
I always try to think, well, there are a lot of people that stayed in Day's Ends, and what can we do that would give back to the people that enabled us to have it in the first place? The good Lord enabled you to have it, but those people that rented the rooms were certainly responsible for what happened.
Here's a woman who is a recipient of the Horatio Alger Award for her business accomplishments, from rising from a small, humble background to a very successful business career. At the same time, this year she's the 1997 Georgia Mother of the Year. She's head of the she's going to be president of the National Garden Club in 1997. She's been named Philanthropist of the Year. She's run a very successful business. So this is a lady with a multiplicity of talent.
The times were hard. We were living in a little rural community where everyone basically were poor. They lived according to how good your character was, not how much money you had in the pocket, because people didn't have money. And we had to conserve everything.
The recent selection of Deen as the Georgia Mother of the Year was a joy to my heart. And one of the things that impressed me the most about Cecil and Deen after I joined the company was his love and respect for his wife and his devotion to his family.
I'm often reminded of, my dad would keep a little plaque in the kitchen that he gave my mom from Proverbs 31. And it talks about the very capable wife and kind of the ideal wife. And if you were to go down that plaque, description by description, that's what you'd have in my mother. I mean, she's just an outstanding person, a real woman of valor and courage, and a lover of beauty and a lover of people. So very dedicated to her family and her friends. And so much of what she does shows that.
I always look at her as even if she had not won that event, to me she still would have been the Mother of the Year, Mother of the century, I think.
Her family is everything to her. I've never talked to her at any length that she's not talking about something that one of her children or someone in her family has done.
I have seen a quote from Deen Day Smith that said that she'd never been interested in cooling it on the Riviera. She could have gone anywhere and done anything with her wealth, but she chose to stay here at home and help people.
One of the greatest things about her is her giving attitude.
And I wish that I could have more of that giving spirit that she has.
She really has helped more people than any one person that I know here in the state of Georgia. She did not and does not want any credit for the help that she has been to so many people.
There is no sweeter spirit than a Deen Day Smith who is a steward over the gifts that God has given her. And you know, it's never a day goes by that you don't see something or hear someone say that Deen Day Smith and the Day Foundation has touched their lives in some special way. And it's not the big gifts sometimes, it's the little ways in which she reaches out to touch so many lives.
Well, you know, the one thing you can say about my mother is that when she decides to join something or do something, she's going to do it well. She has a real servant's heart about her. And so she was invited to go up with Jimmy Carter and Millard Fuller to New York on one of the first large Habitat work crews. And what her gift was, it wasn't hammering and nailing, but her gift is really the gift of hospitality. And so she just took that gift with her to New York and cooked hours on end from sunrise to sunset and later way into the night, just cooked for the folks that were working up there all day long.
I'm trying to think of something that she hasn't touched in somebody's life in Georgia in some way, and I can't.
She believes in helping people, not simply through the federal government. She believes the government's role is limited, but the role of individuals and the responsibility we all have with our God-given resources is very significant. And that's the kind of philosophy she has, and I think she has greatly helped the Georgia Democratic Party by not only voicing that philosophy in a quiet, effective way, but most importantly by living that philosophy.
I think that government has to play a role, but we've taken it too far, and now the pendulum must swing back to a different position. I'm a conservationist, and so that makes me be a little different than some political persuasions would be, because I was brought up in a time where you had to be a conservationist. I've always been interested in politics, and as everyone knows, Cecil Day was a Republican and Deen was a Democrat, and I'm a conservative Democrat.
I think Deen may still claim to be a Democrat. I'm not sure about that. But certainly if she's a Democrat, she's my kind of Democrat. I would vote for her for anything she ran for any time.
I'm going to always vote the person, and I'm going to always vote the person that I feel will do the best job.
Some people could have become bitter with all the things that she has gone through in her life, the trials and tribulations and challenges, but she has become more generous. She's become more compassionate. She's become more empathetic to the plight of others and each one of the challenges she's had in life. So her adversity has strengthened her character rather than the reverse.
You live through one experience and you say, God, help me through it. And you know then the next one, He'll help you through that one also. My grandmother influenced me in the love of gardening. And when you think about it, the good Lord influences you in that regard because He started it all in a garden. And there's something very, very satisfying about growing things. Virginia at Callaway influenced my life. Virginia taught me as a young woman in my late 20s and early 30s and as a member of the garden club to look within the flowers to see what was going on inside.
I think there's a side of her that really enjoys being quiet, getting outside, enjoying nature and God's creation. And that's the side that a lot of people don't see because she does enjoy people and she loves people, but she also enjoys those private times.
And she reminds me of a petal of a flower. You bend back one layer and you see another. And yet God has used her because He's given her that wisdom to be all things in a lot of places. And to whom much is given, much is also required. And that is what she has done with her life.
Anybody that meets Deen knows that what you see is exactly what she'll be. There's nothing pretending. As a matter of fact, she's very consciously sensitive to not putting or promoting herself in some way that would try to set herself apart. And then I think secondly is her real interest in you. When you speak with her, it's like you're the only person there.
I live my life on the premise that I will learn something from everyone I meet. If I spend any time at all with them, I'll try to pick up something that I know about them.
She's not into making impressions, and she's just who she is. She's Mom.
She is a woman of incredible strength, but tempered by a grace that she extends to everyone around her. She's someone who can encourage you to be so much more than you think you can be.
What really makes Deen Day Smith happy is seeing other people happy. I really know that she's the most unselfish person I've ever seen in my life.
She doesn't have to always be the one that's the center of attention. And she's willing to share of herself and help someone else's dream come true.
Deen Day Smith is a unique person. She's a person of great faith. She doesn't wear that faith on her sleeve, she just lives it. Every day she is living the faith that she believes in. And it's just, you can tell when you get to know her. I can't think of anyone who would be more deserving of the Freedom Award than Deen Day Smith.
She's gracious, she's generous, she is genuine. She's not putting on airs when she's around anyone. She can mix with people of the humblest station in life to royalty and do both graciously. She's a great lady. There's just no doubt about that. Her involvement in Georgia has greatly strengthened our state, whether it's in the business realm, where she is a very, very competent businesswoman, or whether it's in the political realm, where she brings what I call common sense conservatism to the Democratic Party, or whether it's in the arts, or whether it's in protecting the environment, or whether it's in medical research. She is just very, very effective. Never overbearing, always generous, always gracious, and always effective.
Well, I told you that this is one incredible woman, but of course, most of you that are here tonight, like me, already knew that. Now to present the Freedom Award here tonight, it's my pleasure to introduce the chairman of the Georgia Public Policy Foundation. Hank McCamish, Jr. is age 66 and founder and chairman, although I found out tonight he's age 69, so the bio needs to be updated there, Hank. But he looks like he's 39, tribute to you. He's the chairman of the McCamish Group, LP, and Integrated Administration Services, Inc. Prior to forming IAS, Mr. McCamish served as chairman of Management Compensation Group, Inc., Southeast, a national consulting firm that specializes in executive compensation, benefit planning, and financing. Having been in the life insurance business for over 40 years, Mr. McCamish is former president of the $1 Million Roundtable and chairman of CLU Institute Board. Mr. McCamish graduated in 1950 from the Georgia Institute of Technology with highest honors. He was listed in the 1965 edition of Outstanding Young Men in America and subsequently in Who's Who in America. In November 1991, he was named a Paul Harris Fellow by the Rotary Foundation of Rotary International. Mr. McCamish is currently chairman of the board of Leading the Way International, the Georgia Public Policy Foundation, the Children's Education Foundation, and of JGB International, Inc., a securities broker-dealer. He serves as a member of the board of directors of Friends of Bermuda Aquarium Limited and USBA Holdings Limited. Finally found a guy more busy than me. Hank McCamish, come up.
This is truly a fantastic blessing for me tonight to represent you, the members and the friends of the Georgia Public Policy Foundation in presenting Deen Day Smith the 1997 Freedom Award. You know, we give the Freedom Award annually to an individual who is a native Georgian and who exemplifies the American dream and who has really made a commitment to serving others. You know, you've heard that we've given the award to Judge Clarence Thomas, to Judge Griffin Bell, to Bill Flowers, and to Druitt Cathy. And thank you for being here tonight. You do us honor by being with us. And from her childhood days in Adrian, Georgia, to living in Techwood homes here in Atlanta, Deen has gone from a humble background to great financial success. But she has never forgotten where she came from and never allowed her success to change her values. She has used her success to touch the lives of literally thousands of others. In a world that desperately needs a role model, she is a role model. Her faith in God, her good works, her commitment to her family, and yes, to her involvement in the political process. I have known Deen for over 20 years, but never realized until I read her bio and saw this video how much she has done for others, how many honors she has earned. And of course, as Pierre said, I will not attempt to list those honors, but the one that I do want to comment on that he mentioned is the one that I think is probably most significant. Well, this past Sunday, John Haggai, who gave the invocation tonight, preached at the church that Margaret and I go to, and his Mother's Day sermon was a tremendously loving tribute to the magnificent power, the quiet beauty, and the unconditional love of a truly great mother. And Deen, I think, being named National Mother of the Year, your children have already said so terribly much on that video, but to me that's the epitome of what your life has meant, because by that your life will go on for years and years and years beyond anything that you have ever in your life, I'm sure, ever dreamed would be possible. And if you would, I'd like for you to come up, because it's a very lucky day for us that you are a native Georgian, and it's a great blessing for me that I have the privilege of presenting to you the 1997 Freedom Award.
You all do not want to see a grown lady cry. Thank you so much, each and every one, for being present this evening. I'm so appreciative, Hank, of the Freedom Award, and I'll try to earn the honor that has been bestowed on me, and I thank you so much. Thank you so much, Lieutenant Governor Pierre Howard, for your kind words. And Cecil Day did have in the kitchen of our home a plaque with Proverbs 31 on it. And Forrest and Park Day live in that house now, and it's somewhere in the house even today. So that was a perfect scripture to bring back some very fond memories to me of Cecil Day and the role that I had in being his wife and the mother of our children. And I thank you so much, Dr. Haggai, for being here. You have been a surrogate father to my children, and I'm grateful. and Dr. Spear and all the other people that have helped raise my children. And I'm Mother of the Year because my children look good on paper. And I keep telling them that they helped me earn that. And Steve, thank you so much, and Sandy for being here. They are wonderful neighbors, and I appreciate all the relatives and all the children and all the friends that are here. And as I stand here and hear these nice things being said, I recognize the fact that God is not going to be reading a long bio. He is going to be looking within the heart. And he is going to be evaluating the life by how we've served him and how we've served other people. And so as I stand here taking and accepting accolades, I feel a little bit uncomfortable with it, because when I get to heaven, I want to be with the Lord feeling that I have been exactly what he wanted me to be. And I must correct Bo Callaway. He really got carried away. Bo is a very good friend, but folks, I have never run Days Ends of America. And I don't know, but Bo was giving me credit that I did not deserve. So please don't go away from here with that idea, because I was there with a lot of wonderful people that were running the company, and I was there trying my best to keep everything going that were properties and so forth. And I had so many people surrounded with love and surrounded with a lot of folks helping. So please don't let that stick in your mind anywhere, because I would not want you to feel that in any way. But as I share with you, I do thank you for all the kind words, and I want you to know that the Georgia Public Policy Foundation is doing a good work in this state, Hank. Any time that we're given the truth and we're given the information, people can make good decisions. And it's so often a lack of information that keeps us from, when we're not informed, we do not get involved in the process. We have to have the information, and you're doing a lot toward that. But I do thank each of you. May I share with you one thing about Dwight Eisenhower that he used when he was talking to his troops, and it pertains to leadership. And I see the foundation being in the leadership role on public policy in this state. General Dwight Eisenhower used to demonstrate the art of leadership with a simple piece of string. He would put a piece of string on a table and say, "Pull it, and it will follow wherever you wish. Push it, and it will go nowhere at all." It's just that way when it comes to leading people. As a public policy organization, you offer the information that we need and that you are helping pull forth and providing leadership in keeping us informed. You are doing for the public what many could not do for themselves. When you explain issues, you can't push people, of course, to accept, but when they do have the information, it helps them make the right decisions. Thank you to this foundation for providing the information and taking a leadership role in public service. My heart is totally filled with gratitude. I hardly recognize that lady that they were talking about, but I want you to know that I am truly grateful. Anne Morrow Lindbergh phrased it this way: one can never pay in gratitude. One can only pay in kind somewhere else in life. And I will be that kind of person as long as I have the energy to do it, that I will serve as the way that Christ served, because he has a plan for every life. And the rest of my life, I'll be living and seeking his plan and giving him the reverence in all things, because he has directed our paths and he has given us everything, and we're accountable to him. And I thank you so much for the honor of sharing in this evening. I thank you for coming, and I thank you for the Freedom Award.